The Empire strikes back. Big Dems try to keep Biden in the game. Israel needs a new government, but Bibi looks doomed. And the DOJ is chasing Snowden's paper. I'm Jamal Simmons, and this is why you should care. The Empire strikes back. According to an NBC Wall Street Journal poll this week, Senator Elizabeth Warren has overtaken Bernie Sanders and is gaining ground on Vice President Joe Biden in the Democratic nominating race for president. While Senate Democrats have mostly stayed neutral during the primary campaign, The Hill reports that the prospect of Senators Warren or Sanders becoming the nominee is spooking some Democrats. Many of them are not so quietly hoping Biden wins the 2020 Democratic nomination. Here's why you should care. Some fear that the progressive proposals being championed by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren would not only face Republican pushback when the time comes to pass those bills, but also from centrist Democratic lawmakers. Democrats are hoping to regain control of the Senate in 2020 and need to win conservative-leaning states like North Carolina, Alabama, and Georgia in order to get that majority. And these senators worry the progressive ideas Sanders and Warren are pushing, they just won't help. However, one of the signature policies being pushed by progressives is not as unpopular as moderates might claim. According to a July Morning Consult poll, 55% of voters support Medicare for all without private insurers, as long as they can still go to the doctor they want. While Democratic senators may think revealing their preference for a more moderate candidate will help push back the progressives, they may very well embolden those progressive voters looking to shake up the very establishment organizing against them. President Trump has tried to bolster Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's political standing as much as possible since coming to office, but it may not be enough to get Bibi reelected. Netanyahu looks doomed. Official results are not complete, but with more than 90% of the vote counted, Netanyahu's Likud party is behind, according to Israeli media. That means the centrist blue and white party led by former General Benny Gantz will likely be charged with assembling a government. There's lots of policy to talk about when we discuss Israel, but let's just focus on the politics for a second. Israel is a parliamentary system with 120 seats, and no party typically wins an outright majority. Instead, the president asked the leader of the party with the most votes to form a coalition with smaller parties and thus create a governing majority. Netanyahu has been the man to lead Israel's governing coalition since 2005, but things may be changing. The man most people are calling the kingmaker is Avigdor Lieberman, who leads a right-wing nationalist party and was formerly in Bibi's government, but refused to join his coalition in April. Lieberman has said he wants the next prime minister to have a broad coalition that's not subject to no confidence votes after every decision. So why should you care about all this foreign policy? Because President Trump is heavily invested in Israel. The country is America's strongest democratic ally in the region, and lots of Americans feel invested in keeping it safe and finding a fair solution to the Palestinian crisis. With tensions rising with Iran and questions about Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, and Turkey on the docket, who leads Israel is vital to U.S. interests. But Bibi is not done yet. Likud may end up in the new government, and Netanyahu could still be a minister, but not in charge. However, if Bibi does get indicted, as has been rumored, he would have to resign. The U.S. government is targeting whistleblower Edward Snowden again. After Snowden spilled the tea on the NSA's spying practices in 2013, the government tried their best to take him into custody. However, Russia came to Snowden's rescue and granted him asylum. Now the U.S. is going after his money. Trump's Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against the former intelligence contractor following the release of his memoir, Permanent Record. DOJ isn't suing to keep the book from publishing. They're suing to keep the profits from the book's sales because they say the book was not turned in for pre-publication review. According to department rules, federal workers who write about their work must submit it to the agency for review and approval. DOJ says Snowden and Macmillan Publishers failed to follow that protocol and should therefore forfeit any profit from the story of his leaking information about the spying program without the government's permission. Why you should care. Snowden and his lawyer argue that nothing in the book is outside of what was already been reported by news outlets around the world. They say that this is another chapter in the government's ongoing war against whistleblowers, not to mention a potential violation of both the First and Fifth Amendments. As the ACLU argues, requiring people to request approval to speak openly about their time at agencies blocks their ability to be transparent. It has a chilling effect. Moreover, even though the agency doesn't technically prohibit workers from writing about their experiences, the approval process is timely and can take years before responding. Snowden's leaks opened up a worldwide discussion about government surveillance and the public's right to be informed. Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos, and head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.